Corruption thrives when some people become untouchable and feel they can act with impunity. The Road Accident Fund has had a dispute with the Auditor General for several years now about how it should account for its finances. What boggles the mind is that this entity, which is funded to billions of rands in public money every year, has defied just about everybody, including the Department of Transport, the National Treasury, the Accounting Standards Board, SCOPA, and the courts, who have all called on it to drop its court challenges against the AG and to use the appropriate accounting system. And now RAF CEO Colins Letsoalo has been caught lying to Parliament about a different matter. Will he be made to face the consequences, or will Parliament once again be found to be a toothless bulldog? Hello everyone. Welcome back to Joe Talks Politics. I am your host, Joseph Musia. Let's get right into it. Let me start by thanking all of you, our loyal viewers. Your support is truly appreciated. But for this channel to continue to grow, I ask you to please hit the subscribe button. And now back to the topic of the day. I once asked former SCOPA chairperson Themba Godi why they kept finding irregularities in government departments and entities, making recommendations, but never seeing any of those carried out. His brief and polite answer was that as Parliament, they could not do that which the law did not empower them to do. This meant the power to act belonged to the boards and the executive arm. Going back to the RAF, why is this entity allowed to act as if it's a law unto itself? Here's an exchange between the new committee chairperson Songezo Zibi from Rise Mzansi and RAF CEO Colins Letsoalo.
So this dispute has gone through the courts. How has that litigation gone so far? How have the courts decided?
The courts have said that we are an insurer. At least the North Gauteng High Court, Chair. On this matter, on us versus the AG, they said we are an insurer.
So in other words, they've agreed with the Auditor General.
Yes.
Was the matter not before the Supreme Court of Appeal at some point?
Yeah, Chair, we have taken the matter on review for obvious reasons, because we don't think that that is the case. And it is in front of the SCA, and we have now asked for reconsideration by the president of the SCA, because they did not look at the matter. They told us that we did not meet the requirements of a special appeal. That's what they said. So we have asked for reconsideration of that.
So the history of this, as I've been able to see, so there was an initial High Court application that went as a Road Accident Fund. Then there was an application for leave to appeal at the High Court. The High Court refused. Would
Yes.
that be correct? They did
Yes.
not hear it.
Yeah.
The Road Accident Fund then approached the Supreme Court of Appeal. Correct? Already, because you used
Yes.
the term reconsideration.
Yes, Chair.
And the reconsideration application is done. You petition the judge president of a court following a decision of that court that the litigant believes was not right.
Correct,
Right?
Chair.
Would that be correct? So I just want to say this. So the High Court considered the issue. You appealed for leave to appeal. They refused. You went to the Supreme Court of Appeal. They've turned you down. Then you are now petitioning the judge president of the Supreme Court of Appeal to reconsider the matter.
Yes, Chair.
Right. So far, what we know is that the courts have agreed with the AG at this point.
So, despite being advised for some time now to abandon their litigation against the AG and to comply with the Public Finance Management Act, Letsoalo and the RAF have flatly refused. While the government is powerless to act, or at least to try and save some money on litigation costs, is not immediately apparent. The latest episodes involving Letsoalo and the committee could potentially amount to him lying to Parliament or at least deliberately misleading it. This is a serious offence of fraud that, if pursued to the full, could result in a heavy fine or even imprisonment. During last week's meeting, DA MP Patrick Atkinson wanted to know why the fund employed a chief investment officer when they don't have any investments except a call account.
And I see that you've got a CIO. I was actually just wondering why you have a chief investment officer in the fund and why you don't just have a treasurer. What kind of investments is the fund making that you need a CIO in the fund? Because to my mind, if you do have a liquidity requirement and you need to have a lot of cash on hand to be able to pay people out, you really shouldn't be doing anything more than having a cash call account or money on call with the bank. So I'd like to know what the reasons are for having a CIO at the fund.
We're going to get into a space where generally how we manage is different. So Honorable Atkinson may want to call an investment officer a treasurer. It's semantics. What do you call them? This person must sit there and do an asset and liability management. We choose to call that person a chief investment officer. Honorable Atkinson says this person must be a treasurer.
It was at this point that Zibi intervened, questioning Letsoalo's reply, which differed from the one given in October last year.
Last time the Road Accident Fund was here, I asked a specific question, which was, what kind of investments do you engage in? And I followed that up and I said, is it a call account? And CEO said yes. I said, is that all? And you said yes. And we can consult the record. I then asked you that day whether you have a treasurer or not. You remember that interaction? I asked if you have a treasurer or not. And if my recollection is wrong, please let me know. Your answer was in the affirmative. I then asked you as a follow-up why you needed a chief investment officer if you have a treasurer. So I just want you to disabuse me of the belief that you may be telling us something that is different from what you said last time. But I've asked the team to consult the record if they can. I remember I sat here and I was asking questions myself in that regard. So let me ask again. Have you had a treasurer before concurrently with a chief investment officer? At which point did you then decide to forego a treasurer? And are you telling the committee that the chief investment officer effectively performs the duties of the treasurer, and that the only thing here is about naming conventions, but otherwise the committee should have nothing to worry about? The concern I raised at the time was the fact that you said you only have a call account. And by the way, I am not suggesting you're not allowed to take part in investments, but I went with your answer at the time. So can you please clarify me here about that interaction and what you are telling the committee today?
We have never had a treasurer at RAF. We have a chief investment officer who's acting. I don't know where people are getting the word treasurer from, and that's why I'm saying it's nuanced. People, different names, different. This thing is going to always result, Chair, in a situation where we must now go to the.
Mr. Letsoalo, you're not answering me. I need you to start here. I asked you that day. I asked you that day, what investments do you engage in? and your answer was it's just a call account. I asked a follow-up question, which was, if it's just a call account, why do you need a chief investment officer? Right? Because there's a certain, names matter. I can't call a CFO a managing director because I choose to do so. These roles matter. A chief investment officer's job is to determine and drive the investment strategy of a firm in order to maximize returns. A treasurer does something fundamentally different, Mr. Letsoalo, and that is to do what you were describing just now. Managing assets and liabilities and doing the matching and helping the organization manage its cash flow so that it can meet its ongoing obligations and so on, and to also manage whatever investments the firm may engage in order to serve that purpose. That's what a treasurer does. A chief investment officer's role is limited. I do not think we must get into a discussion here, and it's patronizing to the committee, I must say, where you tell us you can choose what naming convention to give to something that does not apply to it. Please don't do that. This conversation is coming along well, and it's not appropriate for you, Mr. Letsoalo, to say you can call a role anything. And you did say last time that I was getting into management space. I let it go. But this question is valid. So, is your position today that you do much more than just have a call account, as you told me last time? Are you changing your answer?
Chair, you're going to have to let me answer, because you see, one is you are making assertions about things I understand quite well and have done. You are saying a CIO's job is to maximize returns.
Mr. Letsoalo, please start here. You gave an answer to this committee last time. Your answer today to the same question is different. Which version is correct?
There's nothing different, Chair. I'm saying it again. We have a call account, and that's what we have at the Road Accident Fund.
You don't have investments with anybody, not with the Reserve Bank, not with anybody.
Meaning?
Now I'm saying you may decide to take a portion of the cash that you have sitting in bank and invest it, because the Reserve Bank is mandated to do some of this work, for instance, or another institution. I'm not specifically au fait with your legislation. My understanding is that you are allowed to get into that kind of thing. So I'm not saying you shouldn't. But last time I asked you a specific question. And that question was, do you engage in anything other than running a call account? And your answer was you only have a call account. Now you've just said, just now to Honorable Atkinson, that you do much more than that. Wasn't that so? That's what you said. Please explain to me what more than that is in relation to the answer you gave last time.
I said, Chair, there is a view that all we do is manage a call account. We do more than that. I talked about certification of the loan book. I talked about asset and liability matching. That's what I said, Chair. So that's what I'm saying. We have a call account, but a person that is in a CIO position, currently the RAF does more than that. I said there must not be a view that, and I said it even in the last meeting, that there's a view that all people do is manage a call account, which is not true. Okay? So I'm saying, again, Chair, the RAF, so far as I know, does not have a treasurer, has never had a treasurer, it has got a CIO.
Letsoalo had enough opportunities to clarify. First, Zibi reminded him of the conversation the two of them had last year in the committee about this very matter. At some point, he should have realized that he had made a mistake and then corrected himself when Zibi repeated this matter several times. His insistence that the RAF has never had a treasurer means that he lied to Parliament when he said they did. Or is he lying now when he says they don't and never have had a treasurer? And here's that exchange from October 2024.
You mentioned a chief investment officer. Do you have a treasurer at the Road Accident Fund?
Yes, Chair.
You also have a chief investment officer.
Yes, a different position here.
Is this the end for Letsoalo's tenure or merely a rough patch in the road?
Do you have a treasurer at the Road Accident Fund?
Yes, Chair.
You also have a chief investment officer.
Yes, a different position here. I'm saying, again, Chair, the RAF, so far as I know, does not have a treasurer, has never had a treasurer, it has got a CIO.
See you in the next one.